I'm not at all connected with the fishing job as such, but I'm connected with this vibrant group, so-called fishing Catholics, because these people are so much, let us say, they are attached to each other. There is such a communion in the fishing community, because they have this mentality. If a vehicle breaks down in the road, they can ask the help of another vehicle to push that vehicle. But if something happens in the middle of the sea, they have nobody. They have only another fisherman has to come and help them. So that sort of connection they have among themselves. So they don't want to lose anybody in their own community. And that's why all these people are so much loving, caring for one another, and understanding each other, and such sort of good heart. Each of them has such a good heart. In fact, I wanted to be a priest. Not that it was just by chance that I entered to seminary. It was my will, and I wanted to be. Somebody may laugh at me when they hear this story, because my father and mother, they are very much closer to the church, and we are very much attached to the church functions. And my mom used to bring the torn vestments of priests and stitch them in my own house. Now and then I used to wear them. I used to wear these priest vestments. I used to say, "The Lord be with you and also with you." Like that, I used to celebrate Mass at home, just acting out Mass, but wearing the real vestments which my mother had brought from churches just to stitch. And I think that sort of interest I got since my childhood. And after that, but I did not know how to enter into a seminary, how to go about. There was no clue at all. One day what happened? Fr.Bernard Fernando, my vocation promoter, and I'm happy to have him. Even now we are staying together in the same house. And he came to my school, and one fine day he was just preaching about Don Bosco. But that day, as usual, I went to the school late, because I am a late going fellow to the school. As usual, I went very late. I was caught just before the gate, outside of the school. And the vice principal came out, and he said, "You fellows are coming every day late. So it is your punishment to pour water to all these flower pots outside." Then we accepted willingly, because it is a punishment for coming late to the school. But unfortunately, or fortunately, let us say, there was no water in the tank, because there was a season of drought, and we did not have water in the school water tank. So now this vice principal had nothing to do with us, with these culprits. He said, "Hey, there is one priest has come. He has come to preach about something, some saint, so-called Don Bosco. You go and listen to him, and second period you can go to your class." I said, "Okay, fine, then let's go." And I went to this particular classroom where Father Bernard was preaching. We listened to his story. It was so interesting. It was about Don Bosco. And at the end of the story, he gave an open invitation saying that those who would like to be like Don Bosco and serve youth of Sri Lanka, please join us and give me your addresses and your name and the contact numbers, like that. So I was so interested of the same, because it was my dream since my childhood, and I said in the beginning I wanted to be a priest. So I immediately rushed to him and gave my name. My family was with me, and they wished me all the best for my going ahead as a seminarian towards my priesthood. And one fine day, that only gave me a big challenge. One fine day, my father asked me, "So, you really want to be a priest?" Then he said, it is not difficult to be a priest. It's not difficult. But he looked into my eyes and said, it is very difficult to remain as a good priest. Very difficult to be a good priest and to remain as a good priest. He gave me that challenge, and I am still faithful to what the challenge that he gave me. Also, that challenge is still echoing in my mind. And that was a good, encouraging word and challenging word which my father gave, and which kept me going ahead towards the priesthood. I learned a lot from my family, because my family is so much interested of religion. It was not just a customary religion they followed. Rather, I saw a lot of religiosity in my own family. Starting from the sign of the cross, when we were born, our parents gave us religion, a good religion. In fact, we were witnesses for risen Christ from our childhood, because our parents, they were really living the religion. They were living the Christianity. And a lot of teachings that we used to learn from our parish priests and teachers, they gave us exactly what they really meant from their own lifestyle. We saw a lot of good things in their own life. Rather, more than before I learned about Paschal mystery and how all this theological background behind Easter, I learned these kind of simple things from my own family, from my parents, from my mother and father. And I remember how my elder brother and younger brother, how they acted out some dramas which are connected with this Passover, feast of Passover, and also the life of Jesus Christ, and even taking the characters in Vasappu. Vasappu means life stories of different saints, and we are stage drama people, the actors. And so I learned a lot by taking part in all these dramas, also learning catechism in my own home. And more than learning theology and philosophy in such institutionalized places, I learned these kind of simple teachings from my family itself. And I think that is the basic which I had to celebrate all these services. If I recall back my memories as a child, I remember when I was serving at the altar as an altar server in my parish, I served the Mass for which my father also sat down as a disciple. That was on a Maundy Thursday, and he was one of the disciples. He was sitting down and I was serving at the Mass. I remember that time the parish priest was Father Hyacinth Pereira, and he was a parish priest over there at Kanana. And my father also was sitting among the disciples, and he washed his feet, and I was just helping him as an altar server. That was my memory as a child. Right now we are towards the western coastal area of Sri Lanka, and let us say these people are so mad after religion. Why I say mad? Because they have nothing without a religion. They have nothing without Christ. They have Christ in everything, and all that they have is in Christ. Everything is in Christ. Because all these are fishermen, mainly. You know about St. Peter. And he was a fisherman. and most of his disciples are fishermen. So naturally, all these fishermen, they tend to be Catholics. And before they push their boat into the sea, they go for the mass and they pray in the beach itself, and then only they push the boat into the sea. And even in the sea itself, they are praying so much to God, who gave St. Peter a good catch of fish. And also after coming back, the first fish that they caught, they used to keep it spared separately so that they can give that good fish to the parish priest or to the church or to a good welfare society or somebody like that, thinking about God. And that sort of religiosity they have, that mentality they have. Also, I would say the children that are newly born and also children who are going to the school daily, all the children are very much trained to be attached to the church, and they have such an attachment to the church or to the religion. They are so good Catholics, I would say. And even if you see all these their religious functions, the church is full. The church is packed in all these areas, from Colombo to Manna, even beyond that towards Jaffna. All these Catholic churches are full because the coastal area people are very much religious and very much Catholics.